Welcome to the Becks, a podcast that explores multimedia horror with hosts Becky and Sydney. Join us as we talk about movies, books, video games, music, and much, much more.
Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks. So, I was listening to our last episode, and you started off with, "We're back. We're both healthy."
I cursed us. It was my fault. So sorry.
It just made me laugh because, I didn't have shit to do last week. I was indisposed, so I listened to our last episode, and I immediately started laughing as soon as I heard that.
So for those of you that don't know, because I didn't announce it on the Facebook page, I didn't know if Sydney wanted me to, but yeah, shortly after that episode, she started not feeling well and ended up at the ER and then ended up in emergency appendectomy surgery and was off of work for a week, and now I have a horrible cold. So I cursed us. So we're back and we're not better. We're horrible. Yeah.
I mean, I'm better.
Don't say that now.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I was not picking up what you were laying down.
Oh, boy. We gotta get back in the groove of things here.
God. Okay. So, this is a long-awaited episode.
Special episode for a friend of ours.
Friend of the show, David Hayes. Dr. David Hayes. He has a company called Splatterpunk Theater, and they put out movies and books and comic books and all sorts of things. So, when we told him at the last event that we were at together that we liked doing movie book comparisons a lot, he's like, "Oh my God, I have something for you."
Yes. Yes, he was pretty excited. So
he gave us the book Keeping Molly, and he wrote that with his friend Kevin Moyers, and as well as the movie, which was called Zombie Chronicles Infection Zone.
Yeah.
So I read the book,
and I watched the movie.
and this book is a pretty quick read. It's 10 chapters. The edition that he gave us also was like a special edition, so it had the screenplay for the movie in the back, which I didn't get to read through because I kind of started, but I also didn't really want to spoil it because Becky today was like, "Oh my God, the movie," and I'm like, so because I didn't find the book to be too outrageous as far as there was some gross stuff that happens, but it's a zombie book, so I kind of expected that to a degree.
Yeah, there's gross stuff that happens in the movie, but the movie is not just the story of Molly.
Oh.
The movie is basically 4 movies. It's the movie, and then there's 3 other movies in the movie.
It's like, wait, so is it like an anthology? Like they're all interconnected stories?
No.
Okay.
So the opening credits, I thought it was really cool though too. As the movie opens up, you put it in my Blu-ray player, DVD player. I don't even know. Had to find it because I don't watch movies. So I found it and hooked it up and was watching it. And they actually have previews of 2 other movies.
Oh.
So that was pretty cool. At first I was confused. I'm like, what am I watching?
It's like home theater.
Yeah. And then I figured it out. But so it starts out, the opening credits show a bunch of zombies tearing a bunch of people apart. And then it goes to the county coroner's office when the actual movie opens. And the coroner's eating a sandwich, talking to his wife, telling her he'll be home for breakfast, but he's got to cover Mike's shift. I believe it was Mike. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Question. When he was eating, was there a dead body?
Yes, right in front of him.
They always fucking do that
Yeah.
with morticians or coroners or whatever. They're always like, "We're so unaffected by our job that we eat around dead bodies."
Yeah.
It's such a funny micro trope.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was sitting there, chomping down a sandwich, talking to his wife, and she's like, "You had to work again," going through the whole thing, and he's like, "It's okay. I got a whole freezer full of friends." And this line, and they use it more than once. She responds, "Yeah, your friends in popsicle parking." I died.
Oh.
I died.
Oh my God.
Like, what did she just say? I had to go back.
Friends in popsicle parking.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yep. So he's like, well, I got, a bunch of movies, so I'm going to watch the movies. And he's got a VHS player, and he's got movies. So that's how we lead into, we watch 3 other movies within the movie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no zombies in the main movie?
Oh.
Oh.
I did not say that.
Okay. Tell me more.
I mean, after all, we're in a corner, Yeah. So.
Very true.
So the first movie he puts in,
is it Molly and Alan?
No, that's the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, leads right into, yeah. So the first movie he puts in is called The Nudist Resort Zombies.
The Nudist Resort Zombies.
Yep.
It
shows
I would watch that movie.
A woman naked in the sauna. And I was very happy to see this. And I'm like so proud of my friend. Because the naked women in here were big girls.
Nice.
And they were completely bare ass naked. Putting it all out there. I was like, good for them. And good for the people that included them in this movie. Because us big girls don't get represented a lot. It's always the skinny girls. So I was excited to see that. Roger thought I was a little weird. But I'm like, hey, I don't care. Look at that big girl.
Representation matters.
Yeah. So, and this one's kind of really short. They show that she's in the sauna. She gets in the shower. She hears something. She gets out of the shower. She goes in the kitchen. And this zombie attacks her. And he attacks her by rubbing her boobs. And then he vomits blood all over her face and her breast and keeps rubbing on her and then eats her. And it shows her dying, and then the movie gets caught in the VHS player and he pulls it out and he's like, damn, looked like there were a lot of titties in that one. So that one was quick and simple. It was just like a scene from this movie, The Nudist Resort Zombies. So it wasn't much there. Yeah. I was like, okay. And so then he puts in another movie called Harvest Time. And this one's a little longer. It goes into...
Is he doing any actual work?
No, he talks to the dead body in between. He's like, hey, what do you want to watch? Oh, and they show the dead guy laying there.
He had to stay at work late.
Yeah.
But he's not actually
someone
working.
Apparently has to watch the dead people all night long, I guess.
Okay.
In the,
Sure.
Yeah, in the popsicle parking garage.
I'm just mad for his wife because he's
right?
obviously fucking off and not actually like.
Yeah. Well, he's getting paid, so I guess whatever.
I mean, that's good point.
So the next one is called Harvest Time, and there's just this woman standing in the woods, and sun shining, and she's holding a cooler that's got blood dripping down it, and she's like, stand there. It's like, all right, I'm good. And this guy walks up and he's like, it's dripping blood. And she's like, oh, yeah. He's like, do you got paper towels? She's like, no. I got a paper towel? She's like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, I can see why you wanted to meet in the woods. Even though there are dirtbags selling drugs on the sidewalk a couple blocks from here. It's a sloppy business. And she's like, well, you're the one that needs an organ match. You got to go begging. So he's like, oh, and she goes, but I used to work around here. He's like, where? She goes, over there. And he goes, at the lab? Well, then you know that there's something. She's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so they start talking, and he pays her, and she's like, yeah, some people burnt down the lab. They burn it down. And he's like, oh, really? And she's like, yeah. She goes, well, I'll tell you what, if we'd have continued with my work there, I'd have been a prize winner. I'd have been, And he's like, oh, okay. And he gets a phone call from his wife, and she's like, did you get it? Is everything okay? And he's like, yeah, everything will be fine. She goes, well, it's just, really important, and I'm really worried. And he's like, I'm just around the corner from the hospital. I'm going to be taking it there. She goes, but what if you get caught? And he goes, I'm the head of surgery. No one's going to question me. So he's just got this random organ and a cooler that's dripping blood. And so they talk a little bit more, and he decides to go. Well, then she's standing there, and she's like, man, reminiscing about how she used to work at the lab, and he's walking through the woods the other way, and she goes to walk, and she gets a phone call. And she's like, oh, yeah, sure. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh, we got another donor? That's great. Got to keep in business. And there's this zombie guy that you kind of saw hints of while they were talking. Like, you could see his hand on a tree, and you just knew he was. And so he comes up behind her, and he, like, chomps into her neck and kills her.
Oh.
And then he goes looking for the blood, because she had dropped some blood on the ground when she was
he's following the trail.
So he's following the scent.
Right.
So he goes after the other guy, who is still talking to his wife on and off. And he's like, no, everything's fine, and blah, blah, talking about their daughter, who needed an organ.
Oh, it wasn't for him, it was for his daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so then he's like, okay, well, yeah. And then he hears something, and he sees the zombie behind him. So he tries to run. And he, of course, gets hurt, because that's what happens every time someone's running. In a horror movie, you've got to expect
You can never successfully run if you're in a horror movie.
So he gets up, and he's limping horribly, but he's still got the cooler. Well, then he decides, to hell with it. The zombie comes up on him, and he opens the cooler and feeds him the organ. And it's a liver. He feeds him the liver. And the zombie's eating the liver. And I think this guy thinks he's getting away. He's going to get away, because he gave the liver. Well, no, he doesn't get away.
Oh.
So he eats him. So then the cops go to the house to tell the wife that they found her husband dead, because she's like trying to call him. And no one's there with the organ for the daughter. And so they get there, and they're like, and she's like, they're like, this is about your husband. And she says, he was just trying to do the right thing. And they're like, okay, no, but that's not the problem. We found him dead. And she's like, what? And so they start talking about it.
She forgot rule number 1. You don't tell cops anything.
I know.
You don't volunteer any information.
And so they're like, you have a daughter that needed an organ? She goes, oh, yeah, that's horrible. And they're like, oh, no, she got a match. And she's like, oh. And he's like, your neighbors, we've talked to your neighbors, and none of them have seen your daughter. And she's like, well, she's homeschooled. And he's like, well, but none of them have even seen her outside. And when they've been in your house, they say there's no room for her. And they see a bunch of blankets, like, piled up in a closet. And she's like, well, it's not my fault that we bought her from her mother. She goes, she said, labor can be very cheap. She said, and we were going to raise her for the next 10 years. And when she was all raised, then we were going to give her a great reference. So they bought her, and they were working her. She was their worker.
Oh!
Uh-huh. And she's like, well, that little brat has my husband's kidney. Doesn't that count for anything? And the cops are like, you're coming with us. And so that's how that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my question is, if you're a zombie, and you start eating somebody, and you die, would your organs not then begin carrying the zombie virus?
You would think so, yeah.
So then when they do the organ transplant, she would become a zombie?
Well, she would, but I think they got the transplant from someone else. I think they found her the organ and saved her anyways, even though they knew that they were bad people. But the organs, every time a zombie eats somebody in the first 2 movies, it cracks me up, because like the intestines look very crunchy and hard.
Oh no.
And then when they're slurping on their skin, it's all slimy and flopping out of their mouth. The special effects had me giggling. I was like, yeah, guys, good job. Yeah. It was a lot of slime and a lot of blood. Lots of blood. So then that one ends, and then he puts in the Keeping Molly movie.
So it is Keeping Molly still?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Curious. So, yeah, like I said, this isn't a very long book. It's 10 chapters. It's probably more of a short story.
Yeah.
So, they co-wrote it together. I'll tell you guys a little bit about the two. So David Hayes, like I said, we met him at an Oddities Festival. He is an author, filmmaker, and forensic psychologist. That's why I said he's a doctor. He's made several films. He's made over 70 films. He's also the author of several novels, collections, chapbooks, and graphic novels. So films like A Man Called Nereus, Dark Places, and The Frankenstein Syndrome. And graphic novels including Cherub Pegged, American Guigno. I probably am not saying that right. I am so sorry.
He is so going to make fun of you
it's
if we see him
spelled
again.
Guignol. Maybe it's just Guino? I don't know. Scorn and Cannibal Fat Camp. The Rot and Dial P for Peanuts. And Rotten Tail. So, Rotten Tail also is a film that was released in theaters. So, and then Kevin Moyers. I don't know if this was published posthumously. There is a dedication that says in loving memory to him. So, I'd love to find out more about that. We can always ask David when we see him again.
Next time we see him.
So he liked to write, podcast, and have fun with his daughter. He was the author of Brain Farts and Scorn, has appeared in films worldwide, including Machined and Reborn, and was all over the Abnormal Entertainment Podcast Network. He was the co-host of Raise Your Spirits with Cam and Kevin, as well as Cinema Head Cheese, the podcast. He lived in the Phoenix area, and we miss him dearly.
Oh.
So shout out Kevin.
Yeah.
This was a fun little read. Like I said, there was some gross stuff that happens. It's so it's about Molly and Alan. Mm-hmm. They're a married couple.
Mm-hmm.
And Molly's pregnant.
Yeah. See, it starts out in the movie that it shows them having their wedding. And then on their honeymoon, taking pictures. They're taking selfies together. Shows them buying a house. It's just short little clips, as you're going through. Buying a house and then her being pregnant in the house that they bought.
Yeah. They have a cat named Mr. Peepers. This was my one complaint. Did Mr. Peepers exist in the movie?
No.
Okay. Mr. Peepers dies horrible.
Oh, no.
He has a horrible kitty death.
Oh.
And it upset me.
You would upset Sydney with that one, for sure. Oh, no.
Especially...
He didn't even warn you.
Especially because he was just trying to run away.
Oh.
Yeah. So... This is sad. Like, this book opens up and it's sad. It's fucking depressing. So she goes into labor, but they're not able to save the baby.
Right.
And
Same
so...
with the movie.
Like, days later... Like, she has to have an emergency C-section. Days later, they release her, and there's this orderly that's, like, wheeling her out of the hospital, and he's like...
Is it a he?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a girl that's wheeling her out.
Oh, okay, so this is funny. He gets a phone call from this girl that he hooked up with.
Yep, same thing, only it was a guy she hooked up with.
Okay.
Yeah.
The language that this orderly uses is so funny. So... I have the excerpt from the book here. So he's wheeling her out of the hospital, and then his phone buzzes. The instrumental version of "I've Got Friends in Low Places." So he stopped short, jerking the wheelchair to a halt, and reached into his pocket to grab his phone. As he pulled the phone loose from his pocket, the attached earbud cable swayed, causing the bud to pop out of his right ear. He quickly snatched it from its fall and looked at the phone screen to see who was calling. One night stand my ass.
She said that line in the movie. Yep, she did.
He looked around and pushed Molly toward an open area as he answered the call. A darkened patient room, door ajar, was all the invitation he needed. Leon rolled Molly into the room and quickly set the parking brake on the wheelchair. "Hey, baby, where you been?" he said as he answered the phone and walked back out into the hallway where he could talk. So... important to note, Molly's drugged out of her fucking mind because,
she was in the movie. Mm-hmm.
And he just dumps her in this random room.
Yeah, same. The way the movie is that she's pushing her out, and she looks like this little goofy nerd girl. So cute. And she's like, oh, and she answers the phone. Same thing. She says the same line, "One night stand my ass." And then she just leaves her there, but she looks to her left, and she can see the darkened room where the terrifying patient is.
Yeah, and then so he's like, this was really creepy. So she starts to hear this moaning, and there's this tearing, and she sees this guy who looks really bad, like super sick, and he sees her, and like she thinks to herself like, oh, he's in like the late stages of this disease, like he's gonna die. Well, then he starts sniffing the air and pulling on the restraints, and he like they cut into his skin. He's like basically degloving himself to get out of these restraints, which is one of the biggest icks I have. Like, I don't get, so two things will make me nauseous is eyeball horror and degloving of any kind. Like, I cannot.
Uh-huh.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because in the movie, she's sitting there and she hears him, and he's like kind of far away from her, but not really. And he's making noises, and he's kind of moving around in his restraints. And then he starts chewing his own arm off.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
He's like biting it, and then he kind of like, when he flails his head, she gets splattered with the blood in the face.
Yeah.
And she just wipes it and wipes it into her mouth. And it's like, ew.
That's
and no one questions the blood on her face, I just have to say.
Well, in the book, it's really subtle.
Well,
like,
it was like it was right here by her lip, there was blood right there in her face. And her husband wipes it off when they get home in the movie.
Oh my gosh. I don't think Ellen sees it.
Ah.
I don't remember reading that. Well, this is the fucked up thing. Okay, so she didn't just wipe it off. There is blood that landed on her left cheek near her mouth. There wasn't a great deal of it, just a drop or two. She moved her hand toward it automatically, like a raindrop had landed on her cheek. Without blinking, she rubbed the blood down into her mouth, lightly licking it from her finger.
Yeah, she did that in the movie.
Bitch,
too.
what the fuck do you mean?
She was really high. She didn't know. She was just like this. You just, right? You're like, I'm really...
Nasty.
You would have probably done that when you were all drugged up or drunk.
No, I just ask pregnant women if they're pregnant on purpose. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
So, that's the end of chapter 3. So, like I said, this book trucks along.
Yeah, movie goes pretty quick, too.
Was the surgeon that cared for Molly Alan's friend?
Yes, Tony.
Yeah, okay. I was just wondering. Yeah, okay, yeah, it says right in the opening of chapter 4 that he doesn't notice they're so small, it's like invisible on her cheek.
Yeah, no, there's a little bit by her mouth, and when he gets her home, he undresses her and puts her to bed, and he wipes it off her face, like, what the hell, and just kind of goes about.
Yeah, it was like, so he gets her in the car, and she says, I never heard him cry.
Yeah.
I didn't hear him cry, Alan. I'm like, oh, come on. I did not expect this book to start like
I know.
If you've ever met David Hayes, you know. He's so funny and charismatic and not politically correct at all. And like, so I was expecting very like schlocky zombie, which I mean it is, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure.
In a good way. I didn't expect the emotional beats. You know, first this and like how Molly and Alan both deal with their grief in different ways, and then also the death of the cat, and then the ending's sad too. So they get home. Molly's sleeping a lot. Alan sees the nursery and gets upset. Obviously,
yeah.
He's
in the movie. He's holding a picture of like a cross stitch of teddy bears, and just kind of throws it in a box.
So in the movie in the book he takes a stuffed bear out of the crib and like sobs into it because he really doesn't want Molly to hear him.
Yeah.
And Molly's starting to feel weird.
In the movie, she's breaking out with this rash on her face. Does she have a rash in the
Not like immediately.
Okay. Well, she does in the movie. Probably because the movie's a little shorter, you know.
Yeah.
But she is. He goes to check on her, and she's turning like, she's got like real pale skin and veins showing and dark circles under her eyes, and she's got like a little bit of redness coming on her face, and So he gets her up to put her in the shower, and he takes her clothes off, and she's got this pussy, pimply spot on her back.
Just one?
Oh no, it's probably the size of a orange or grapefruit in the center of her back, and then it's filled with pustules.
So did she call her mom?
Yes. At one point, she just calls her, when she first got home, she just said, Mama, I need you.
Yeah.
And that was all it showed.
She calls him, she calls her parents, her mom specifically. Alan starts kind of packing up the nursery a little bit. He tries to. And she's feeling super, super sick. And she starts screaming because of how sick she feels. So Alan runs in, and that's when he notices that, like, she's running... it seems like she's running fever. She's got she's got like the boils or whatever, and
pustules. They're pus filled. Blech.
Or no, I'm sorry. So she's cold. He touches her and she's really cold. So he's like, oh shit. So he puts her in the bathtub.
That's what he does with her. He gets her undressed and puts her in the bathtub, and that's when he finds the nastiness on her back, and he pops one. It's all over his fingers.
Dude, he pops all of them in the book.
Oh, yeah, no.
He takes a washcloth and just goes.
Well, when he pops the first one, the one in the movie, he has it in his fingers and is going like this.
Ew, don't do that.
Yeah, he did. I was like, oh, dear God, no.
No.
You don't know what that is. And then in the movie, they show little clips of, newsreels about how there's a flu, and it's a super flu, and they don't know what's happening, and this and that. Just little spots here and there.
Yeah, I mean, he calls Tony because he's worried about the boils and stuff.
Yeah.
And Tony's like, it's fine. Like, she's fine. And I was like, bruh. Yeah. Well, when he first put her in the tub, I was like, because she had just had a C-section. And everyone knows that when you have stuff like that, you're not supposed to be submerged. It's like, I understand.
See, in the movie, it didn't say there was a C-section. They had her pushing, and then she, screamed and kind of, went limp and went into cardiac arrest, and they had to save her. And Tony just told her, you did good. But they never said they did a C-section.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, it was definitely on my mind because I still have 3 incisions on my stomach, and I was just like, because, dude, day 4 that I was home, all I wanted was a hot bath. And I'm
you can't submerge those things in water. That's asking for trouble.
No, yeah, I'm not trying to. Well, let me just get all 3 incisions infected.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
In the book, did they have a neighbor that was super nosy?
Yeah, I'm trying to find. His name is Monty.
Yeah.
And so this kind of it confused me because when they introduce Monty in the book, I mean, it says that he has a reputation, but it doesn't say what it is. And he's just like, everything okay? And Alan's like, no. And Monty asks if there's anything he could do. And he even says, poor kids, Now, later on in the book, it's revealed that Monty's, super into Molly. Super creepy.
Yeah.
Just a really gross,
yeah.
Weird.
When they first introduced him in the movie, he's outside when they're trying to get to the car, and she's in labor, and you can tell she's in a lot of pain, and he's like, well, what can I do? He's like, can you help me get her in the car? Oh, yeah. And he gets her in the car, and it's just, yeah. But he gets what he deserves. Anyway.
So, at this point, Alan is kind of leaving her to rest. And then Tony calls her in a prescription. So, Alan leaves.
to go get the prescription.
Yeah, and the pharmacy is filled with like sick people, and Alan starts to get like really paranoid about not having a mask, and like these people are sick as fuck. Like you could tell everybody has what Molly has.
Yeah, he's standing outside in a line, and there's people in front of him that look rough, and then this kid walks up with his girlfriend, like, you know, teenager, early 20s, and he's looking like he's all pustules and looking real bad. And the girlfriend goes, I think it's just the flu. And he's like, uh-huh. You can see, like, oh no, I don't want to be here.
Totally. Well, meanwhile, Molly is going insane. She's uncomfortable. She can't stay still. Alan hadn't closed the door all the way, so the cat sneaks in.
Oh.
And Mr. Peepers is very skeptical about Molly, which is unusual because that's her cat.
Yeah.
And she sees Mr. Peepers, like, she opens her eyes because he hisses at her. And then she tries to grab him. And he panics and runs away. And she follows him into the living room. And she's crawling around on all fours. It was very creepy, the imagery.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And the cat goes into the closet, and I'm like, oh, God, like, it's cornered. It's gonna die. Okay, this is what makes me...
This was not in the movie, thank goodness, thank you. Thank you, I did not have to watch this.
Well, this is the thing that made me particularly mad, because the cat goes into the closet, and you're like, fuck, this is where the cat's gonna die. So you're, like, kind of preparing for it.
Uh-huh.
Well, she gets tangled up in the clothes in the closet, so the cat is able to run away again. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Crisis averted. No!
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
So it describes how, like, she's feeling more and more, like she's starving. Like, it's super painful. Her mind, the Molly part, was awash in a blinding white light. All that remained was the pain and the hunger. Her tongue was dark and bloated. It looked like a chunk of raw liver and hung from her mouth as though she tasted the air. Starts following the cat out, and it cuts to Monty. So he's like creeping into their yard because he wants to try to catch a glimpse of her, and he's like, well, if she's sick, she's probably naked because nobody likes to wear clothes when they have a fever.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, he had sent flowers to the hospital.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Monty's trying to put on some moves.
Then he saw that Alan had left, and he just went, and he's like, oh, the door's open. And he let himself in their house. And he was like, Molly, is there anything I can do for you?
Well, she's hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So he's creeping across the yard. He hears something in the house that causes him to like back into a stereo, and music starts up. I don't know if this is a real band. Do you know Iron Butterfly?
No, but that doesn't mean it's not real.
Probably is. This scares him because he's like, oh shit, now they're gonna know I'm here. Well, nobody's paying attention. Alan's gone. Molly's too far gone to...
They are a rock band.
Oh, they are? Okay. Yeah. So in the book, it wasn't a kid and his girlfriend, it was a father and son. So the son was like, had the boils or whatever. And the dad was like, oh yeah, I think it's just the flu. Alan said, you're probably right.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. Yep.
So everybody's moaning and growling and gurgling in the fucking pharmacy. Alan pulled his shirt over his mouth, realizing how stupid he looked and how futile the gesture was, but he just wanted to get out of there and get home to Molly. He wondered if she was becoming as sick as the people that surrounded him. Worse. It was worse. So she finally gets out of the bedroom and the closet, and she gets hit with another spasm, and at this point she screams, which Monty hears. So he's like approaching these like French doors, and so Mr. Peepers leaves the closet. He starts going towards the French doors. he slams into the French doors trying to get out.
Oh.
You know, because they're glass doors. I'm like, fuck, stop. Well, at that point, he's like totally dazed or whatever, and Molly's able to grab him, and she just starts ripping into him.
Oh.
Very sad.
I'm glad I didn't have to watch that. No, she just eats the neighbor. She goes after Monty because he's in the house. And she bites his neck and is chomping down on him. And he actually gets away.
Well, that's kind of what happens, like, a little bit, is, like, so, he hears the scream, so now he's, like, going to investigate, and he sees her, and he just watches her eat her cat.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's like, that's fucked up, like, obviously, because at least he's, like, halfway normal. But then, he, like, comes to his senses and tries to run away, and he runs into Alan, who's just returning, and Alan's like, what is wrong with you? And Monty's like, is your wife okay?
Well, she attacks him in the house, and he gets out of the house.
Oh.
And Alan comes home, and he finds him in the yard, and she comes out in the yard and starts eating him again, and he, like, tries to get her off, and then she's like, I'm okay. He's like, are you sure? She's like, yes, I'm okay. And then she looks down and starts screaming when she sees what she had done, because she had killed Monty. She had enjoyed his flesh. Not in a nice way. And then Alan takes her in the house, gets her laid back down, and he comes out with a shovel and chops off Monty's head and then puts him in garbage bags and puts him in the garbage cans.
So that does happen.
Yeah.
Just later on. Like, he has to take care of the cat first.
Yeah, no cat to take care of, just Monty. But yes, you find out that he was going over there because he had the hots for Molly. That's the only reason Monty was there. It wasn't because he was concerned about his neighbors. He wanted to sleep with.
So he didn't hear her scream or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Did it seem like that, for lack of a better term, like transformation? Was it painful for her?
Yes, she was having pain. She did say she was so hungry. She was very uncomfortable. When she was laying in bed, you could see her tossing and turning, and just, you could tell it was not a comfortable situation.
Yeah.
And Alan, he just seemed lost. Like he just didn't know what to do.
Yeah, like, from the title of this book, I thought, like, he just kept her as a zombie pet, kind of.
Yeah.
Which isn't completely wrong, but it's not completely right either.
Yeah.
So he takes care of the cat. He kind of cleans Molly up. He puts her back to bed. And at this point, he's, like, really mad because he knows it's not the fucking flu. So he tries to call Tony, and Tony doesn't answer. Well, on the TV, there's a breaking news story. It was, like, moments ago. And it's Tony being interviewed with some other, like, doctor or scientist, and they're talking about this new flu and how, like, it's, like, highly transmissible. Like, it's not actually a flu. Like, the media just kind of coined that term, and they're, like, running with it. They're saying that it's more like mad cow disease, kind of.
Yeah.
And so the reporter's like, there's no need for public panic, and he's like, no, there's no reason to panic. That, you know, it's very likely that the so-called super flu is nothing more than, and then the orderly rushes him and eats him.
Yep. Yep. Same thing in the movie. Yeah.
So Alan is, like, still, like, trying to call Tony when this happens, and he's like, oh, that's why he wasn't, like, in his inner monologue is like, oh, that's why he wasn't answering his phone. And then you can hear in the news broadcast that Tony's phone is ringing. Molly starts screaming again, and this is when, in the book, she's starting to look really mottled and yellow and everything like that. It's way worse. And that's when she's starting to run hot as opposed to cold. And he tries to get her back. Like, he changes her, And he's like, I need to cool her down. So he tries to go out to the pool, which I thought was interesting. Like, why would you not just put her back in the bath and run the water cold? But I don't know. Like, you have a pool in your yard and you should use the pool. She starts vomiting like this disgusting black, viscous, nasty whatever, and Alan describes it as very foul smelling, and I was just like, this is gross.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Now he decides to take her out to the garage.
Like, just the garage?
Yeah, he gets some blankets and he takes her out to the garage and tells her to lay down, and she's like, I'm so hungry. He goes, I know. I'm going to take care of that in a little bit. You just lay down here. And he lays her down on these blankets in the garage and locks her in.
Oh, okay, so they do it in the garage in the movie instead of the shed.
Maybe it's a shed. I don't know. Looked like a garage to me when he walked in. Didn't really show. It does show like a door that's locked, so maybe it was a shed. I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's where he puts her, and then he goes back in the house and he kind of sits there and thinks for a while.
So he puts her in the pool, and it makes the water starts steaming because that's how hot she is. And Monty, of course, is watching this all through his neighborly window that he has.
See, Monty's already dead.
Yeah. So he gets her cooled off. He takes her back in, gets her dried off, changes her clothes, and puts her back in bed. And this is when he kind of has, like, he's just so lost. Yeah. You know, because, I mean, you think about it. You just dealt with the loss of your baby. Yep. Who Molly calls the baby a he. Yep. But it's never confirmed by, like, the doctors or anything what the gender of the baby is. So Alan doesn't know. Yeah. Because that was one of the things that they said was Molly was insistent that they do not know the sex of the baby. They wanted it to be a surprise.
Well, you would figure, though, they never said anything, but she was full term from the way it looked in the movie anyways. What happened to their baby? They came home with, there was no funeral, at that point, there would be a name. There would be a funeral, because I think anything after 7 months, you have to name them and have a birth and death.
Oh, you have to?
I think so. I think legally, at that point,
well, yeah, but if you, like, okay.
I mean, I guess you don't have to take care of them and bury them, but I think at a certain point, you have to name, and there is a death and birth certificate at a certain point in your pregnancy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, well, you could pick out a male name and a female name, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't necessarily have to. Well.
Anyway, that was depressing.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so they lost their baby, and now he's facing losing her from this weird whatever is happening.
So she keeps telling Alan that she's hungry. He does actually try to make her regular food. He makes her oatmeal, but she immediately vomits it up.
Oh, yeah, he doesn't do any of that.
Well, sounds like Book Alan is a better husband.
He was trying to think of ways to help her, but he knew that there was no way after he's seen her eat the neighbor.
It kind of switches to Monty's point of view at this point. It's not just like, okay, he's an annoying, maybe nosy neighbor into like a full-blown creep, which you kind of realized earlier a little bit, but you get into like more of his perspective in chapter 8. And he's just like, he knew that something pretty bad was happening inside there, but couldn't get over the desire to catch a glimpse of Molly naked. Dude, fucking stop. I hated this guy. Ever since the couple moved in, Monty had a raging erection, the likes of which he thought had long passed him by. He just, like, watches her all the time. And this is when Molly's parents arrive. Do they show up in the movie?
Just the mom, but not until the very, 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 very end. Like, so he puts her in the garage, and then he sits there for a while and thinks. He's got the medication that he got from Tony or the pharmacy, and he takes most of the pills and stuffs them in a very rotten roast, and opens the shed door, garage door, whatever. And
why rotten?
I don't know. It looked pretty rotten to me.
Gross.
And throws it in there. And then walks away,
It.
and then waits a little bit, and then comes in, and he takes the rest of the pills, and he goes in and lays down next to her, and she's kind of aware, but not really, and they're laying next to each other, and she eats him. Yeah. And then she realizes, and she starts to scream, and then her mom comes in the house and is like, Molly, honey, Molly, I'm here to take care of you, Molly, honey. And she goes looking, and she's walking around looking, and she goes out to the shed door and opens it, and you just see these hands grab her and pull her in.
Oh.
And that's how it ends.
Okay.
But that's not how the movie ends. That's how that movie ends.
Right. Okay, so the parents arrive, and this is the one part of the book that I was a little bit irritated with, the characterization. So Molly's parents suck, like really bad. Her mom hates Alan. So much. And like she's mean to her husband, Molly's dad.
She's just a man hater?
I guess. Well, to be fair, Molly's dad is a piece of shit. So, I'll get there. So, Alan does not know that they were coming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, the doorbell rings, they knock, whatever. And he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? And Audrey is his mother-in-law's name. She's like, where's my baby? George is the dad's name. He's like, do you have any beer? And so Audrey goes to the bedroom, and she's like yelling over her shoulder that Alan is useless, even though he's been taking care of her this whole time.
Yeah.
So Alan was gonna follow her into the bedroom, and George is like, nah, man, just let her do her thing. And so George just sits on the couch and starts watching wrestling and drinking all of Alan's beer. And Audrey is in the bedroom with Molly, and Audrey comes back out, and I'll just read this section. So, you better pray, screeched from the bedroom and down the hallway. Audrey did everything a little louder and a little shriller than everyone else. Alan's head snapped around at the sound to see Audrey barreling down the hallway in his direction. As she got closer, Alan sunk even further back into the couch, as though he was trying to become a part of it. Audrey wagged her finger in Alan's face as spit flew from her mouth. What have you done? Nothing. Molly's in terrible condition. I told her from the minute she said you two were getting married that you didn't give one good gosh darn about her. And he tries to interject. She says, you shut up. Looks like I got here just in time. That little girl needs her mother's help, and there's nothing you can say about it. So, and meanwhile, George is just sitting there watching wrestling still. Okay. She says, I don't know who you think you are, but if you really loved Molly, you'd leave. I have to get back to my baby. Don't you ever think about coming in. And I was just like, okay. So,
he should have just left her.
Well, this is the thing that confuses me. It's like, okay, Molly loves Alan a lot.
Yeah.
They have a really good relationship. They're super excited about having a family. And when she was sick and she had just lost her baby, she called her mom.
Yeah. She was sad. She was hurting.
So, and I know this is a short story and stuff like that. It's just okay, if you knew your mom hated your husband,
would you call them? Probably not. No. My mom hated my husband.
I don't know.
And I always called her when I was sad. But my mom was the type that she would not be mean. She would have never been mean to my husband like that. She would have just said, okay, let's get this done. Let's take care of her together, blah, blah, blah. She loves you. That's what my mom always used to say to Vince. She loves you, so therefore I will be nice to you. But, yeah, no.
So Audrey finds the boils, and she thinks that she calls them bed sores, which is insane to me. So then she's even more mad.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure.
So she's totally angry. Apparently, they drove 12 hours
to get there.
Yeah. So she's like, I have to go home and pick some stuff up. So she's like, so you need to take care of Molly while I'm gone. She's telling George this. And George is like, yeah, for sure. So she leaves. And, like, they basically just wait until, like, Alan and George are just in the living room waiting to hear the car drive away. And George is like, do you think she's gone? And Alan doesn't really answer because he's just like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what are we going to do? Whatever. And so George gets up and he looks out the window and sees that she's gone. And so he says, hot damn, I'll be at the bar. And then he leaves. So this is what's really funny is like, okay, so apparently he just walked because Audrey took the car. Yeah. So
he's out.
He comes back later wasted. Okay. So then there's after George leaves, Alan changes the TV back to the news station, and that's when they talk about how like it's kind of like mad cow disease, and it's all about like how they're drawn to eat meat because of some type of protein in it. It's L-cysteine. It's an amino acid. And so, like, they'll eat and they will kind of come back to themselves, but the hunger just keeps getting worse and worse and worse until there's, like, nothing left. So at this point, Monty sneaks into the house. And Alan's just, like, watching the TV. Mm-hmm. And Monty sneaks into the bedroom, and this is when he dies.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah. And then he chops her up. Alan chops Monty's body up with a shovel and, like, puts it in separate garbage bags and throws it away. So she gets pretty upset when she comes back to herself and sees that she killed Monty. But,
yeah.
You know, whatever.
Yeah. Told you got what he deserved.
Yeah.
Creepy man.
Well, he just, like, fucking broke into their house and was, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever. So George comes home wasted. And Alan was like, damn, I was really hoping he wouldn't even come back. But at this point, he was worried about just getting caught. And George keeps drinking. And this is when he kind of like remembers, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be taking care of my daughter while my wife is driving back home for whatever. And so he goes into the bedroom or George gets eaten at this point. And Alan can't stop it.
Well, when Alan was waiting to go into the shed, he like was sitting outside drinking a beer, just kind of sitting outside the door after he fed her the meat with the pills in it. I think he was really hoping the pills would help do something.
Yeah.
And then he took the pills, drank what was left of his beer, went in there, and then she dined on him. And I felt really bad. And then dined on her mother. And so then, after that, you go back to the coroner's office, and I believe it's Carl was talking to the dead guy. He's like, oh, well, yep, time sure flies when you're having fun. He's like, well, I got to put you back in the popsicle parking, you know. And so he's wheeling the body back, and he turns around because he hears something, and there's a zombie.
Oh!
And he's like, man, I got to quit watching these zombie movies. He's like, I'm seeing zombies everywhere. And it attacks him and eats him. So then his wife is trying to call him to see where he was because she got up, got in the shower. Again, big girl naked in the shower. Yeah. And so she goes downstairs and is sitting having her coffee, and she's trying to call him and she can't, reach him. And she hears something downstairs in her basement, so she goes down there and she's like, hello? And there's Carl coming at her, and she's like, what are you doing down here? What is up? And like 2 other people behind him. And then they push her down and they start feeding on her. And this scene, David, it was like never ending. It just kept going on and on. They were pulling, oh God. So I'm assuming the first part was her small intestines.
Oh no.
And they looked all crunchy and bloody and like hard, and they're
Crunchy is really...
and they're like growling and pushing each other. And no, crunchy, they do.
Oh,
they
I don't like
crispy.
that.
And then they're fighting over it, and so the one guy grabs it and pulls it away, and then her husband reaches in her and pulls out, I'm assuming, the colon or the large intestine, because it was giant. And they just start, really, I'm not even kidding, chewing on it. And yeah, so then they walk back up the basement stairs and walk out. And here's the zombies. So yep. So we ended the Molly story. And then Carl goes home and takes his buddies and goes and eats his wife. For a very long time, but not in the good way.
Gotta get your money's worth, you know?
Oh boy, you have to watch
all
it.
That corn
You have to
syrup
watch
and
it.
Stuff.
Yes, no, it was something.
What's the runtime of the movie?
I don't even know. I just put it in and watched. I was like, I need to watch this. This is what we're doing. Kudos to everybody that was in it, though. They were hilarious and they made me laugh and grossed me out. But they looked like
Joe Sherlock is the director of the movie.
Yes, it looks like they all had a great time making it. So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was
a fun little read. I just like.
So how did the book end?
Pretty much how he puts her in the shed. He doses the meat. He takes a bunch of pills. He's like, he's not interested in living without her.
Yeah.
And he knows that, like, the disease is towards the end of it. Like, it's, for lack of a better term, like, life cycle or whatever.
Yeah.
So he ends up getting eaten by her. Her mom comes back. Molly eats her. And then the book ends with there being a newscast about how there was a cure found and that the first person to be administered the cure was the hospital orderly, and he made a full recovery. Which is also sad because it's like, it potentially, if they had just held out a little bit longer, maybe Molly could have been cured, but...
Yep. Yeah, it was the orderly that was pushing her out that got the first vaccine, and she's standing there smiling.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. It was very entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're gonna have to watch the movie and see the crunchy intestines.
I hate that.
The slimy neck meat and yeah.
Delicious.
Yeah. Again, big girls naked. I was like, yes.
One thing about zombie movies that's always driven me crazy since I even started watching them is the fact that, like, you always inevitably have those people that hide zombie bites, which I thought was so ridiculous. Yeah. Like, endangering their whole groups or whatever. I have no problem believing that people would do that now, because just look at COVID.
Oh, for sure. I watched a movie the other day where they did that. I forget what it was called. Not the spreaders. I don't know what it was called, but Roger was watching it, and that's what they did. The girl, they had a little girl in the truck with her dad, and she was struggling to breathe, so they opened up the spot that they weren't supposed to because they had them all taped in there,
Yeah.
And the girl took her mask off, the little girl, and she ended up coughing and spitting on her, and she didn't tell anybody, and just went with her friends, and then they found out that she was infected, and she had infected her boyfriend because he grabbed her and kissed her. She was trying to stay away from him. I will give her that, but yeah, and I was just like, asshole, what, And that's when Roger made it very clear that he would shoot me in the head and it would all be okay. He said he would have no problem shooting me, his mother, whoever, if we were infected.
Right.
He would make sure we were dead. I'm like, oh, yeah, all right, no hesitation there. Thank you. I mean, I wanted a little bit of hesitation. There isn't any.
Well, not in his words anyways.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there's so much zombie media out there, and some of it's really, really good, and some of it is just terrible. Me and James watched 28 Years Later recently. I fucking hated that movie. Maybe that's a hot take. I fucking hated that movie. I hated it.
Why?
To be fair, I didn't really like 28 Days Later, which I know is very controversial, but, and we literally just talked about this, like the whole violence against women thing, and, you know, do you remember 28 Days Later?
No, it's been a very long time since I've watched 28 Days Later.
One of the fucking lines in this movie is, like, because the villains are humans, always, you know.
Yeah. One
of the last lines is that the villain character makes is, I promised them women. Okay. And there's two women characters. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Two women characters. One is a grown adult and one is like 13.
Yeah.
And so it was just really uncomfortable. But one of the things that movie did that I will never forget, I will always remember this, is one of the characters gets infected with the virus because he gets a drop of blood in his eye. And I'm like, that's such a fucked up way to transmit it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But you're so used to, like, just the bites doing it, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I just remember that scene leaving such an impression on me, even though I didn't really like the movie as a whole. Because it's just too dark. Like, it's just too fucking dark. And especially when you are a woman and you think about that, is like, that is 100% what would happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they would just... You're boned if you're a woman. In any scenario, but especially in post-apocalyptic scenarios.
Yep.
Like, just feed me to the wolves. I'd prefer it.
Yeah, pretty much, for sure.
So anyway, this is a very long episode.
No, an hour, yeah. Shit.
But, like I said, this is long overdue. We've been promising that we would talk about a David Hayes property for a long time. And,
if you know him, you know he's awesome. If you haven't met him, I hope you do. He's a lot of fun. We always enjoy seeing him at events. Looking forward to hopefully seeing him again this summer. We haven't really heard anything yet. But fingers crossed, we'll be at the Oddities Fest again at Crossroads Village. And yeah, we'd like to see David again. And this was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I laughed. Yeah.
They're not, okay, yeah, we should, I mean, I'm sure you guys have kind of figured this out by now, but these aren't like highbrow, serious horror films, okay? They're schlocky, low budget, beautiful works of terrible art.
From people that love what they do.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. You know, support your small, what am I trying to say?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Support people that are doing this.
Picture of health, by the way.
Yeah, doing great. Yes, support those that are doing what they love and putting stuff out there, even if it's crazy and I don't even know if it's like a B movie or a
C or
D, but it was fun.
We say it with love.
Yes, we do. It was fun. It's worth watching.
Yeah. And he has something for everybody, like, as far as, like, how you consume your media. So if you like reading, he has books. If you like comic books, he has those. If you like movies, he has those. So...
He did the werewolf. You bought that, didn't you?
Yes.
The werewolf?
It's this ginormous werewolf encyclopedia, which is so cool. This definitely will not be the last time we talk about David Hayes, because we also want to eventually have him on the show.
Yeah.
So it's in the
we're still learning how to do that. We're gonna need a lot of more stuff to bring people in through Zoom, and
yeah, we got it penciled in our plans, but
yeah,
you know, because I'd love to talk to him about some of his more academic projects, like the werewolf encyclopedia, or like the book about movie sequels.
Yeah.
Those all have like essays in them, and he has one about the Carrie sequel that was really, really fucking cool to read. So yeah, that's it for today's episode. Today the pod, tomorrow the world. My name is Sydney Rebecca.
And I'm Rebecca Snow.
And we're the Becks.